So a big thanks to Driver's Ed, because we would never be able to do this show without it. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about that and some of our Driver's Ed stories. I don't really have any funny ones, but
I had some neat experiences in Driver's Ed, so that's what today's show is going to be about, plus a couple other small funny things that happened to us this week. So let's hit the road.
Okay. Hi. Hi. What's up? So, you might notice Mike is missing today.
it's been a tough day.
It has been a tough day. Mike is stuck in Columbus, Georgia.
Stop, you're going to make me cry. All right, we got to move on. Go ahead. Yeah,
The audio might not be as quality today because Mike does such a great job all the time, but we're missing him today. So, sorry. It is a very sad day for us. We're in my car today, by the way. This is Winston, my black 2016 Mustang. His name is Winston. So this is my car. But that being said, I'm driving a car right now, and the reason I'm doing that, or maybe not the reason I'm doing that, but the way I'm doing that is because I passed Driver's Ed, and so did he.
I did.
And should we start with my experience or yours?
Yours is funnier, so you go ahead and do yours.
Okay.
Mine was uneventful, but go ahead.
So, I walked into my class for Driver's Ed, and they had this parent meeting, and they had all these metal chairs lined up in like the aisle of the classroom for all the parents to sit in. It was probably about 50 chairs, like it was a lot. And when the parent meeting finished, all the parents left, and we all sat down, and I first of all didn't realize how many friends were of mine that were in that class with me.
How many?
It was at least 6.
Oh, wow,
So,
that's good. That worked out for me.
yeah, so like
There weren't any in my class.
Yeah, our moms honestly probably planned that out. You know how moms are schemers, you know, especially white moms. We all sat at this table, and Major Thompson, our teacher, I don't know if he was like major in the military or whatever, or some armed forces or something, or if his first name is just Major, but we called him Major Thompson. So he's this very, very old African-American man, and he told us, all you guys, because I'm too old, go pick up those chairs, put them in the back of the room.
Okay.
So we all go, the entire class, we start folding up these metal chairs and placing them in the back of the room, just like leaning them against the wall, and we had like 2 or 3 stacks.
Okay.
The stacks were getting pretty big, but like the chairs, a lot of them didn't have rubber feet, and so they would slide on the tile and like fall down. So the last kid to bring up chairs at the back of the room, he had 2 chairs in his hands, and he was walking to the stacks, and he carefully put one down because he saw some chairs were falling over, and then he put the second one down, and immediately like all the chairs just came like crashing down. Like, and they're just spilling all over the floor, and he was like all awkward, like slipping around trying to like catch all the chairs at once because like he didn't want it to all fall apart on him.
Nice.
I just felt really bad for him because he looked really sad the entire time. He looked dead inside.
So you're telling me that this kid walked over there, placed down 2 chairs, and then 50 of them all fell over,
Mm-hmm.
and what did he do?
He just like he tried to save it after fiddling with it for maybe like 30 seconds, and then he just like stopped and stood like straight up and just walked back to his chair. So like he just gave up, and we had this pile of metal chairs in the back of the room, and Major Thompson just didn't care. on to the next part of my experience in driver's ed. I made a friend named Zarif, and we were sitting at lunch one day, and I decided I had a pen in my pocket and a rubber band and a very sharp pencil. And so I
These are
made
things you must bring to driver's ed every day.
The rubber band's the most important. So I decided, wouldn't it be cool if I took these 3 items and made a bow and arrow out of them?
It would be cool.
So
Did you do it?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And so I took the rubber band, put it around the pen, and I had the sharp pencil as my arrow. And there was a cork board on the other side of the room, and Zarif was sitting to my left. And I was like, I'm gonna aim for this cork board. And Zarif was like, all right, dude, just don't hit me. Well, sure enough, I shot the pencil straight, like directly into Zarif's eye. Like, it hit like right here, like just below, like it didn't actually hit the eye, it just hit the bottom of the eyelid, but it was centimeters away from hitting his actual eye. And like,
That would have sucked. You would have had a lawsuit on your hands because of driver's ed.
my friend Noah, he took driver's ed from the same teacher. Major Thompson is kind of crazy, and one day, according to Noah, he walked into class and he said, I learned this new trick the other day. He had this can of peaches.
Okay.
And he was like, I want y'all to watch me do this trick. So he covers his eyes and like goes like this and tosses the peaches into the air. And like, puts his hands up. His eyes are still closed, but I guess he was attempting to catch the can, and it just hit him directly on the forehead. And he had to go to, I think he had to go to the emergency room because he was bleeding from his forehead. So that's Major Thompson for you. And speaking of Major Thompson, he had a pretty interesting personality. He would just say some interesting things. Like, he talked about how he loves the song Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and how he had never been able to learn the lyrics to the song until the iPod came out. And he could just listen to it 5,000 times a day until he got the lyrics down. And he would just tell us he was so thankful for our generation and the iPod and Steve Jobs, because he learned the song that he loved for all his life. He would also forget to like whisper or like talk. Like he'd come up to you and start like gesturing. He'd be like, and then he just breaks out laughing. Like he's talking crap about someone, but he forgets to say it. So he'll just start making gestures at you. He liked to turn off the lights to get the class's attention like a kindergarten teacher would, but he was like explaining that to us one day, and he was like, I think there's something magical about the fluorescent lights turning off. And he was like, it makes the children hush. And he was like, we didn't know who he was talking to, because he was just looking at the ceiling the whole time. So he was an interesting old man.
I didn't really have an interesting old man or anything like that at my driver's ed course. My driver's ed course, was not anyone. Okay, so what I did immediately after I got my learner's permit and had to do my driver's ed stuff, I found an online course. And so I was like, I'm just gonna click through this real quick, I'm gonna be done, and like they say it's gonna take weeks. I'm gonna do it in like 15 minutes, okay? So I get on there and I start clicking through, and it turns out this is like 74 slides of information that I've got to go through, and I've got to like answer questions and do tests and stuff. Okay, so Let me tell you, I actually went to my brother to ask if he would just click through it for me. He said no, so I ended up doing it.
He wanted to pay his brother.
I mean, why not? So what I would do is I would take it and just click through, watch Netflix, you know, throw on some of The Office and something like that, and just click through. Pretty Little Liars, my basic go-tos. But so I clicked through it, and then I stopped for a while. I was like, man, I just don't have the patience to do this. I had to wait till I'm 16 anyway to even do it. So I'm about to go get my thing, and I'm like, okay, I haven't done driver's ed yet. I haven't finished the course. So I have to go on there and keep doing it. So what I did was I went into class, and like I would just click through it in class, like while I was doing it. Okay, this thing took like 2 days of class just because I had to be focused in class. So when I was just clicking on my phone, it went by quickly. So if you ever find yourself trying while you're doing driver's ed,
you will not pass the test.
Yeah, I mean,
you cannot try. Probably the most work we did was we glued pictures of like traffic signs to paper. The title of this video is how to pass a driver's test, and the answer is don't try.
Don't.
Speaking of passing classes, I really hope that I pass my German class.
Yeah, hold on. I've got something about this German class here. Okay, so I'm sitting there. I'm just watching TV at home on this long, boring weekend, and I read a text from the Bros group chat. So I look down at my phone and I read like 5 different messages from Ryan. It says, so, registration was difficult. All classes were basically closed. So now I am taking German. So I was very confused, but apparently since he's transferring into a new school, that there was not any open classes that related to his major in any way. So do you have anything to say about that?
You know, I actually think it's a blessing in disguise. First of all, because if I decide that I like German, and if I'm good at German, I can just become at some point fluent in German, and then if someone pisses me off, I can just scream at them in German. Also, by the way, I don't know where I am right now.
Oh, I have not a clue.
So yeah, so he mentioned that Bros group chat. I don't text a whole lot of people anymore. It's mainly just like that chat he was talking about, and like a couple other people.
This is funny.
So last night I was really bored last night, and I was like looking on my iMessage app, and I was like, I wonder what my earliest message.
Obey traffic laws, be alert, and use voice commands while driving.
This is Winston.
Winston's a woman?
No. It's ma'am. I just decided to start going through to see like what my oldest message on my app was. Sometimes I delete conversations or whatever if I, you know, for whatever reason, but like I was just like, I wonder what my earliest message was.
In 1/4 mile, make a U-turn.
I shouldn't have put in an address.
I decided to see what my earliest messages were just for fun, and so as I was going through some of the really old messages, some of these were from like 2 years ago, by the way. I started to notice that like some conversations didn't come to a complete finish. Like someone would ask me a question, and I guess me being a butthole didn't ever answer or something like that. So I was like, well, wouldn't it be funny if I just start answering questions people asked me like 2 years ago?
Let's see if I have any funny ones that I can find immediately off the bat.
So I remember there's this one guy, my friend Mike. I had this history class with him, and I sent him a text. This was actually 2 years ago. I sent him a text, and I was like, do you know where Ms. King's test is going to be? We had these standardized tests. And he said, I have no idea, but if you find out, hit me up. And I never said anything. And so last night I texted him back 2 years later, and I said, it was in the auditorium. And he replies 5 minutes later, and he says, thanks, pal.
I have a group chat from spring break. This has a whole bunch of my good friends in it, and it's also got some of my good friends' moms in it. And I asked, did anyone pick up a Braves jersey from spring break? I think I brought one down there and lost it. And people commented and was like, no, I didn't see it, And that was May 15th of last year. Yeah. So I just texted it and said I found it.
My friend's mom arranged a surprise birthday party for him. This was about 1.5 years ago. This group had a lot of my really good friends in it, but also my friend's mom and my ex-girlfriend.
Oh goodness.
So I was like, it was actually my ex-girlfriend who sent the last message in the conversation. She was like, I'm sorry I was late. Did I miss the surprise? That was the last thing that was ever sent. So 1.5 years later, I just said yes. And everyone, 3 people replied with yes. And then everyone else was like, what is happening?
There's a cop up here.
There is a cop up here?
Yeah, right there. He's in his house though.
He's clocking from his window. I got you now. Oh, it'd be cool. Like a cop car, but a cop house. That's what. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they chase after you real fast, don't they?
Like a mobile home.
Yeah, cop RVs coming to you soon.
Robin Williams.
Well, that's all we have for you today. Just a couple fun stories about how to pass driver's ed, funny texting stories that include some very serious people in our lives. A big shout out to all the fans, Maggie especially. Thanks for watching the videos. Make sure you're subscribing, liking, commenting, all that jazz.
Give us an idea for next week's video if you have one.
We do need that.
It could literally be about anything next week. So hit us up with that.
Safe travels.
Safe travels. Make sure to wear your seatbelt and don't try on your driver's test.